Hello and welcome to Talking Gamers match preview. West Ham United taking on FCSB. Match day one of the Europa Conference League group stage games. Gonzo, can I get your thoughts on our opponents, please?
Yeah, massive club. Now, I've got to be perfectly honest here. I wasn't fully aware of the name change. And basically, this is Steaua Bucharest. And without going into lots and lots of detail of why they changed their name, basically it used to be a military club. But Steaua Bucharest were massive. Now, if I go back to the days when the Champions League was the European Cup and you had to be champion of your country, you didn't have this big TV deal whereby you have these mega clubs that you see every season in the Champions League. You had the group stage to help facilitate, get them through. So what you had the top club from every country, and not really anyone had any massive advantage. So actually, when I was a kid, so in the mid-80s, well, Aberdeen, as we're used to, they'd have a chance of winning stuff. A lot of these clubs have a chance of winning stuff. Steaua Bucharest were an absolutely huge club. And I remember they won the European Cup, or the Champions League as it is now, in 85, 86, beat Barcelona. Same year, funny, I think it's Fergie's last season at Aberdeen, funny enough. He got to the quarterfinals that year. But these clubs were massive. Red Star Belgrade, Steaua Bucharest, Dynamo Kiev, and Ajax. I know Ajax is still big now, but these clubs would go into the tournament with a real chance of winning. Massive club, loads and loads of fans. Couldn't tell you exactly why the name change happened, but make no mistake about it, we are about to play a very, very big football club steeped in history and the biggest club in Romania, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I've been looking at in regards to their name change. I found myself down a rabbit hole this morning. I think I've spent about an hour reading about the history of the football club. It's so much so that I ended up reading articles about how the owner doesn't want to sign vaccinated players and stuff. But reversing from that, you end up clicking, don't you? You read a bit and you're reading a bit and you think, oh, that looks interesting. So I've been really worming my way through, and you're right, it is in regards to military. Now, when I speak from here on in, this is my interpretation of it rather than factual. So go do your own research on this one, and if you're a fan of the club, you can leave your comments below. But what I'm saying now is not necessarily 100% correct. But yeah, certainly when they were founded in 1947, it was the military that founded the club. And up until recently, there's not really been too much issue, and they pay for the rights to use the badge and the colours, and they pay the military. And then there was a dispute over how much they pay. And essentially, by the sounds of it, the military took them to court and says, well, we'll have our club back, essentially. We'll have the badge, we'll have the colours, we'll have everything back. And it's gotten pretty ugly. And if that's why they've had to go change their name, they've had to change their badge. And the dispute is still sort of ongoing because there's now another club which has started off at the bottom division, and it's almost a bit like England's version of MK Dons in Wimbledon to some extent. It's not quite the same, but there's now disputes over who actually owns the history of the club, and I believe it was recently awarded to the other one. So this team where we're playing technically has very little history, but they're just still disputing that in courts as it speaks, and it's gotten very, very ugly. The government's involved in it as well, and it's a horrible thing to read, actually. Yeah. Even though, like I said, I wasn't aware of it until this morning. But I thought, well, why have they changed their name? And then you start reading it and stuff like that. I feel uncomfortable reading it as a football fan. I hate when stuff like this gets involved, and it just gets really messy and murky. But yeah, certainly you've got a spare half hour this afternoon or whatever. Go do your own research, have a read up on the history behind not just the club, but the name change in recent years as well, because it is recent. It was only 2017 that they had to change over. And like I said, the other club that they've got now is on the rise in Romanian football, and I don't know why, but it said that they could never go into the top division, so the only way they'll play each other is via a cup competition. So I'll tell you what, if they ever do play each other, that's going to be a cracker of a tie. So at one point I seen when they played Rapid, they had a massive banner behind the goal that had do you know when you click on the website, it doesn't exist, it says like Bad Gateway 404.
Yeah,
that was the big banner. They had that banner to say your club don't exist, mate. Like, whoa. But a fascinating read for the wrong reasons, unfortunately. So yeah,
and it is a massive. You talk about that as a massive rivalry there, and it's a good comparison to the MK Dons. But just imagine that happening to the biggest club. And as I understand it, FCSB have retained the core of the fan base, which is I mean, a big club. They're 50, 60,000 fans, something like that. They were big players. So I don't mean they have like massive sort of like 8-foot players. I mean, the club itself were really big players in the European game, and they are the giants of Romanian football. There you go, little history lesson there.
Yeah, I remember them for playing Middlesbrough. I vaguely remember the game when Massimo Macaroni scoring the winner was like the semi-final, weren't it? Steve McLaren's brother.
He got to the final, didn't he, McLaren?
Yeah, I think they put
Sevilla, I think.
Yeah, they put Bucharest out in the semi-final. Massimo Macaroni, what a name, what a player!
Oh, tasty player,
He's one of them players I'll just never forget, just because of his name, Massimo Macaroni. He got the winner when they won 4-2. So yeah, that's my memory of them anyway. Anyway, as for their domestic season, it's not going too well so far. Played 7 points. It's not a great start. They've obviously been entered into the qualifying rounds for this competition quite early on. They had to play a couple of games, and in the playoff round, so the third round that they had to play, they beat Viking, another Danish side. So they've also put out a Danish team en route. So the Danes can't have too many clubs left in European football. They've all been knocked out in the qualifiers. So at the minute, domestically not going too great. However, European-wise, they've had a successful run to get here. But then again, question marks over the clubs they came up against. There was a Georgian side, for example, and a Slovakian side, I think, that they played before they played Viking and knocked them out as well. Gonzo, before I ask you about the competition and what you want to see for West Ham and the team you want to see on Thursday, what about the team that I'm going to play this weekend? This video is in collaboration with Spitch, the fantasy football app. Now, myself and Gonzo have got a couple of confessions. We've both missed a week. Gonzo missed the midweek, then I missed the weekend because of the midweek. However, there's no missing it this weekend. There's loads and loads of time to get your team in before the game on Saturday afternoon. What is Spitch? It's a fantasy football app. The app is completely free to download. To sign up, it's completely free. And some games are free to play, including joining the Hammers Chat League. There's also paid games on there if you wish to put a stake down and increase the potential winnings. But the free-to-play game, which I play every single week, is the classic free-to-play game. The top prize gets £250 just for this weekend. There's no season-long winnings or anything like that. The winner for this weekend gets £250. There's also prizes for second place, third place, and so on as well. But I'm going to have the big one, actually, because I'm quite excited by my team. I'll tell you why in a second. I'm going to pop it on the screen. We're going to get Gonzo's reaction to it, and I'll explain why I've got a lot of leftover kitty and what that means. It basically gives me a head start. Gonzo, want to see my team?
I'd like to see your team. I think it's worth pointing out you can actually miss a week on Spitch. So it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Right, here's my team for this weekend. I've got Wolves goalkeeper Jose Sa in goal. I've got a back trio of Lucas Dean from Aston Villa. I've got Christensen from Leeds United and Kieran Trippier of Newcastle, who's, of course, against West Ham this Sunday. I've got my forward midfield of Matt Callister, Ward-Prowse, Paqueta and Addison. And up front, I've got Zaha, Tony and Ollie Watkins. And now this is my curveball. I've handed Ollie Watkins my captain's armband. What do you think of my team, Gonzo?
Who are Villa playing?
I can't recall off the top of my head, but it's obviously Leicester. Leicester, it must be Leicester.
Okay.
That's why I've got Villa players in there against Leicester.
Fine. Well, you've left a lot of money in the kitty. That's what I'm seeing there. I think you've been. Do
you want to know my reason for my curveballs?
Go on.
European football. So Man City, Liverpool, they're all in Champions League this weekend. I'm thinking we might see a little bit of rotation in the Premier League for the first time.
Point.
So I've gone with non-European teams, but I've also then stacked up on teams playing Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth and Leicester. Teams that are leaking goals. I'm going for the offensive players. Monday night, we've got Leeds against Nottingham Forest. What game's that going to be? So I've got a couple of Leeds players in there as well. Leeds Forest.
Why is that going to be a particularly
I don't know. It just sounds like a huge game, don't you think?
Okay.
Massive.
Sounds like a championship game to me, Geo, but you crack on.
Yes, plus 348 budget left over, which means I start with 348 points this weekend. So Gonzo's already 348 points behind me before he's even picked his team. So get involved. Link to download the app is in the description below. Gonzo, you didn't win the Europa League. We played in the Europa League. You liked it because we did quite well in the league as well. The Europa Conference League's here. However, we're sitting 18th in the league, albeit it's early on in the season. Has that changed your perspective of this competition?
No. I think it's really important when you build a big squad that you keep them happy, really. Somebody was speaking the other day, and they were saying I was a chance to play youngsters. Well, firstly, we don't have too many of them. Secondly, actually, no, it's not. This is an opportunity to keep the squad happy. So actually, this is a chance. If, for instance, Cresswell was your first choice left back, this is a chance to play Emerson. I know it's not quite worked out like that because of, whatever injury and whatnot, but it's that sort of thing. If Skamaka hasn't played in the last game, you play him in this game, and so on and so forth. And that's what you do. So I think it's actually really important for our squad. I also think we build on our experience last season, and I think we should get through the group by using some of those players. It's an opportunity to rest, also an opportunity to maybe find some form as well, work on tactics. There are so many plus reasons. There are so many positives. It's hard to really think of a negative. The only negative would be a players would be knackered for the weekend, but they don't have to be because you can rotate. We've got a big enough squad to rotate. I don't see any negatives at all.
And you've got 5 substitutions as well. So even if you start strongly, you can then, should you be leading comfortably like we were against Viborg, Moyes is able to then start bringing certain players off, invest them up, and get certain players on. And I mean, youngsters is something that will be an advantage that we can use 2 or 3 here and there during the group campaign. And hopefully, if we can replicate what we did in Europa League, come match day 6 of the group, we're able to field a team of youngsters essentially because we've secured top spot already in an ideal world. But I completely agree. I'm not fazed by the fact that we've had a tough start to the Premier League yet. Obviously, if this was 18 games in, I'd have a different opinion, but it's not. It's 6 games in, and we've got favourable fixtures coming up in the Premier League. And today, like I said, my opinion may change, but that's going to happen. As you receive more data, you reevaluate. At the minute, going by what I've seen in the league, and I'm confident that we won't be in a relegation battle this season. And this is a winnable competition. I still argue, even more so now, actually, after our sort of iffy start, that this competition is our best route into European football for next season. Yep. And I want to see us go for it. I want to see a strong squad Thursday night. Like you said, it gives us the chance to rotate the squad, play the players. We definitely saw an advantage last season when, if a player got injured that was starting in the Premier League, for example, a centre-back got injured, so we were playing Ogbonna and Zuma for a while. Then it was, oh no, we're going to have to call on Craig Dawson. That's okay, because Dawson's been playing in European football, so he's actually match sharp. He's in form. He's ready to go. You're not drafting somebody in that hasn't played for 3 weeks or anything like that. There's huge advantages to this competition, and I'm really looking forward to it, actually. And there is, I'm not going to lie, there is an element of getting away from the Premier League about it for me, because it's sort of like, if we get beat by Newcastle, it's like, oh no, look at it. We're in the bottom 3. We're in bad form. The European fixture is a bit of an escape from that. We're favourites. We're expected to win. And I want a feel-good factor. I want to enjoy watching West Ham win games. And we're probably going to win the majority of the group stage games. Or we certainly should be aiming to do that anyway. So, with all that said and done, let's have a look at the teams we would like to see, not what we think Moyes will do. But before we do that, a little bit of team news. Gianluca Scamacca is obviously available now. He was ill for the last week. He trained at the back end of last week, but was still not quite ready for Chelsea. But he's ready for Thursday night. Craig Dawson is unknown. It's possible that he may be available to be selected. He also returned to training at the back end of last week. So he's got just under a week's training under his belt now. Harrison Ashby is a bit of an unknown. He's just sort of disappeared over the last week. He's not been featuring for the under-21s or the senior team. So we have to assume he's been injured. But how serious that injury is, we're unsure. But for the sake of the preview, Gonzo, I think we include Ashby because I think it's quite obvious what we'd do if Ashby wasn't available. Ben Johnson's likely to miss this one, I'd imagine. He went off with a hamstring injury against Aston Villa, and he hasn't come back. We've not heard anything since. But I'll have to be honest with you, given West Ham's last-minute attempt to bring in a right back, made me a little bit nervous as to the extent of Ben Johnson's injury. So I'm going to assume Ben Johnson's unfit for this one. But apart from that, we've got quite a healthy squad. So let's kick it off. I mean, one thing you said there was it allows us to try formations, and that's something David Moyes has been doing so far in the Premier League. He's been tweaking it here and there. What formation would you like to see us play on Thursday night?
Sort of 4-3-3. Something like that. I'm not smart enough or tactically switched on enough to know all the nuances of every formation. But I think that seems right. I want, good attacking intent and What are you squinting at?
Because you've just said, oh, let's just call it a 4-3-3 and not that intelligent. The last preview, you sat there and said, I think I'll have a 4-2-2-1-2.
Yeah, sounded good, right? It sounded good. I liked it.
Yeah, then you struggle to read out your teams. I understand why you're going back to something a little bit more simple.
Yeah, but to be fair to you, I'm not the only person that struggled to read something out recently, am I?
Don't know what you're on about.
4-3-3. Call it what you will. I'll give you my goalkeeper if you want. Alphonse Areola.
Before you do, I knew you were going to say him, but I think there's an argument that Moyes should stick with this formation that we've seen recently, this 3-4-2-1 or whatever you want to call it, with essentially 3 at the back out of possession, 4 at the back in possession, that hybrid, because while there's some positives to it and some players have performed well in that new system, if this is assuming this is the way that Moyes wants to go going forward, of course, you don't think Moyes should play this formation to get certain players used to their new roles?
I'd be quite disappointed if we were playing that formation all season. I don't think it's particularly attacking. Well, not the way we're playing it anyway. I don't think I can watch a whole season of that stuff, to be fair. Well, I'll have to. I ain't got a choice. It's West Ham. It's my team. So, no, I would like to think that we don't stick 50 men at the back against FCSB as they are now. So, yeah.
I'm twisted that, isn't it? I could forgive someone for getting that wrong.
I couldn't.
I actually agree with you for what it's worth. I was just asking the question, but I would like to see 4 at the back as well for this one. We've got to go out and we have to win on Thursday. This is a must-win game as far as I'm concerned. So Areola and goal for me as well. Top me 3 at back 4, please.
Well, we've got the unknown Harrison Ashby. We've got the known Tilo Kehrer. We have got the very known Angelo Ogbonna. And we've got the mysterious Emerson. Only one name. And, we've a bit funny with the Brazilians this season because we've signed a Brazilian with 2 names, but actually he's got loads of them. And we signed a Brazilian with 1 name. So I think all Brazilians should only have 1 name. Yes, I know he's defected, hasn't he, Emerson? But so Emerson at the back.
Yeah, I was going to say, how confusing that. You got a Brazil. I mean, to be fair, have you seen how I think it was Sky Sports put up West Ham's team and they put out Lucas Paqueta's full name? It's like 5 different words or something. At one point, I was like, "Who's that guy?" And I was like, hang on a minute. It was like Lucas Palorme, blah blah blah, and I'm like, "Who's that?"
A youngster. They brought a youngster through. He's been brilliant for the under-17s.
Yeah, I thought. Well, I did think that. I thought, well, I forgot Moyes doesn't give them a chance. There's definitely not him. Emerson over Creswell is interesting, though.
Yeah, I think he needs some. I know he played the other day, and he had a substitute appearance before that. But yeah, I think I'd like to see a little bit more of him, see what he can do, get him integrated with his teammates there a little bit more. So yeah, not a problem with that. I would imagine Cresswell will start against Newcastle if fit. So yeah, let's get Emerson in there.
I've gone with the complete same back 4 as you. I think Emerson's probably better offensively than Aaron Cresswell, or certainly more energetic going forward. Sure. We saw it at Stamford Bridge, and I want to attack this team from the start. No messing about. I want to see as much attacking options on there while being sensible. We'll get onto my sensible picks in a second because I realised I'm like, change formation, get attacking fullback. Hang on a minute, you're going to concede a few goals here. I do sort of counteract that later on in my team. But yeah, Emerson at the back for me with Ashby, Ogbonna and Kehrer. And it'd be nice if Dawson's available and on the bench. I think that would almost be a guaranteed substitution to some extent for probably Kehrer or Ogbonna if he's not quite ready for 90 minutes. Get Dawson in and get some minutes under the belt for him. Moving on into your 3 midfield, what you got?
I've got Rice, Downes and Lanzini for this one.
Yeah, I don't have Lanzini. I've got Rice and Downes in there. I'm going traditional 4-2-3-1 for this one. And I have to confess, I don't have Lanzini at all. And I felt bad. But then I also thought about the reasons for... Because I've got Lucas Paqueta in my team for this one. I've got a feeling you possibly might not. You might do. But I do because I think I want him up and running. I want confidence flowing. I want him to almost be given an opportunity in that attacking role to say to Moyes, this is why you play me further up the pitch than you did at Stamford Bridge. This is why you put me next to your striker, almost free roll in the middle of the pitch. This is why you don't Do you know what I mean? I think Paqueta needs an opportunity to show Moyes what he can do, and I don't know if he's going to get that in the Premier League. I think this is the right occasion for Moyes to just be a little bit more adventurous with Paqueta and the team. So that is, as a consequence of that, Lanzini misses out for me. And like I said, I felt guilty, but if everything goes to plan with Paqueta, he plays well against Newcastle, whatever, he would eventually stop playing the European games in the group stage to some extent. And Lanzini would get his opportunities further down the line. But yeah, I can understand the inclusion. But Flynn Downes, can we label him up as a must start for this game?
I absolutely. Forget tactics, forget about all that stuff, right? Forget that. So come down to what I perceive to be David Moyes' weakness. And that is how he can leave players to be peed off, basically. You know, I take you back to the Alex Crowell leaving, just basically finishing training, putting in a really good attitude, and then getting into his car and crying or screaming or whatever it was. It weren't good.
Released emotions.
You know, he couldn't understand what was going on, and I think it'd be a hell of a thing to tell. I've not seen anyone bounce into the club like that, like Downes did. It's probably Hugo for different reasons, but he absolutely bounced into West Ham. He couldn't believe it. Wow, look at all this stuff. I can't believe I'm here. He was about to sign for Crystal Palace on the morning. His agent phoned him up. And he said, Flynn, you're not going to Crystal Palace. You've got your dream move. You're going to West Ham. He can't believe it. And so he turned down Crystal Palace. Now, I will tell you now, if he was at Crystal Palace, Vieira would be playing him in the team. I don't know Patrick Vieira, but I know the way he goes about things. He does business. He's not... I say I don't know. We were good mates, me and Pat.
Thanks for that clarity. I just assumed you played FIFA occasionally, or maybe he was into pinball or something.
Yeah, with me and Pat, you know. Anyway, so Pat said to me, he said, I'm gutted to miss out on Flynn. He said, because he would have played in my team. Because he's not restricted by the constraints that David Moyes is. So I just feel it's really important that he doesn't completely demotivate, because it'd be a hell of a thing to turn somebody around who was so positive about being at West Ham, and within a case of a couple of months have him where he thinks, well, I'm just never going to play, as you don't want another Alex Crowell. So actually, it's really, really important that he keeps him motivated. And I know, you know, sometimes you can use words to keep someone motivated. Sometimes you just need to pick them in a team, and this is that time.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's not even just for motivation for me. It's more for getting him ready. You know, let's have a look at him as well. As a fan, I want to look at him. But in regards to West Ham's long-term plan for the season, you've got to have him ready, because what happens is Thursday night, let's just say Souček picks up an injury. Then what are you doing on Sunday afternoon? Well, you can't play Flynn Downes because you haven't given him a chance. It's almost like, oh no, I can't throw him in the deep end against Newcastle, so I'm going to have to play Lanzini or Fornals in there. Well, yeah, you're only in that situation because you've not played Downes. So this is one of few games where you can actually put him in, and he should be good enough. Downes, with the greatest of respect to FCSB, with the greatest of respect to them, if Downes can't cut it against what is at the minute a mid-table Romanian side, then he's got a bit of a problem. He's probably not good enough for West Ham. I expect him to be able to play. He missed out, unfortunately, with a toe injury against Viborg. Well, let's get him in next to Declan Rice as well. The perfect mentor for him. It's an environment that he almost can't fail in, and if he does, it's because he's not good enough yet. And then what it does do, if Flynn Downes has a poor game, it justifies David Moyes leaving him out for future Premier League matches, because we'd say, well, I can understand that because he was crap against on Thursday night, weren't he? But if he doesn't play him, it sort of puts a little bit of a target on Moyes, which is that Premier League game comes up. We say, well, where's Downes? And we've got no evidence to say he's not good enough. And at the minute, you've got a case with Vlasic, and I know it's different, blah, 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 but hear me out for a second. You've got Vlasic, who a lot of fans felt didn't get a fair crack of the whip under Moyes, now smashing it over in Italy. Another goal. It's 3 goals already for him this season, playing in the number 10 role for Torino, scoring goals in the number 10 role for Torino. I'm aware it's a different setup, so on and so forth, but like I said, he never really got a chance under Moyes. He's getting one now, and he's performing. Kral over in Bundesliga, strong start to the season. Another player didn't quite get the chance. And like I said, I'm aware it's different leagues and stuff, but let's not have this Alex Kral with Flynn Downes. He's got to play. Give me your 2 attacking midfielders then.
Hey?
Well, you've got Lanzini, Downes, and you said 4-3-3, so I'm now asking you.
They're not attacking midfielders, they're wide players, Theo, for goodness sake. Listen, papers haven't described the nuances.
Right, give me your front 3. Give me your front 3. Let's go with that.
attacking midfielders. Maxwell Cornet, whatever his name is, Scamacca, Gianluca Scamacca, and Said Benrahma.
I think two of them pick themselves. I think Cornet and Scamacca does. It's obvious why you pick them in. I've got Bowen over Benrahma. Bowen needs something. I'm hoping it's a confidence boost. And
punishing, Geo, punishing.
No, not yet. He's not been that bad yet. There's no punishment just yet. But Jared Bowen needs goals. He needs confidence. And I felt gutted for him when we played Viborg at home. And he scored that 25-yard goal and got subbed off. I've rarely seen Jared Bowen emotionally disappointed. Somebody could play him a crap pass, and he's one of those that's a bit like, don't worry about it. Next time, make it a bit better, yeah. But that when he got subbed off, you could see him like, why am I going off? I've literally just scored. I'm here. I go. My season starts now. No, it doesn't, Jeremy. Off the pitch. Come on. Off you come. He's got to start and he's got to score. And it's a bit like last chance saloon to retain his place for Sunday against Newcastle. Because at the minute, I think Moyes has got a decision to make with Jared Bowen for Newcastle. However, a strong performance might just keep him in the team. Similarly, a poor performance makes it a bit easier for Moyes to leave him out against him. So Bowen, Paqueta, Cornet, attacking midfielders for me, and then Scamacca up front.
Good, nice.
Are you confident?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, look, as much as I talked up FCSB at the start, they don't. This is not the 80s anymore. They don't have the same financial powers as basically everybody had. Your money in those days came from your match day sponsors, and it came through the turnstiles. So really, if you had 60,000 fans, you were the same as any other club that had 60,000 fans. It wasn't a massive disparity. Television deals, basically, the best player at the time, Georgi Hagi, the best player in Romania. Initially would stay in Romania. I mean, we had some good Romanian players over here, and it's not that I didn't come over, but that didn't really start happening until later in the 90s. A lot of the good players stayed there. This is not the case anymore. And I couldn't tell you. In fact, Haji's son possibly played for Rangers. I don't know if he still does, but anyway, their best players now in Romania get picked off very, very quickly. So they're not. It doesn't really matter what their talent pool is. They're probably not there. They're probably not playing in the league. So you have to be confident because, well, look how much money we spent.
Yeah, because like we said, big club, big reputation, but doesn't mean a good team. It means what it means: big reputation, big history. I'm confident. I had a look at the squad, and there's football snobbery here. I am aware of that, but didn't recognise any of the players or anything. Usually, there's one or two players you've heard of that have ended up there. When I was looking around the teams we may get in the qualifiers, and there's still one or two of those players that I'd heard of. That old striker that used to play for Celtic and Man City, John Guidetti, he was playing for one of the teams. Yeah. There's not even any of them, and that doesn't make them bad players. Like I said, I've just never heard of them yet. I was trying to look at the players that have scored the goals so far for them this season. They've got a 23-year-old attacking midfielder that they signed last summer, but when they signed him, he'd only scored 3 goals that season when they signed him. I was like, I'm not feeling much fear when I'm looking around their squad. I try to do as much research as possible within the parameters available, which is pretty limited. But yeah, I am confident because at the end of the day, we've got Premier League players here. We're talking, looking at my team, I've got a £51 million attacking midfielder and a £35 million striker.
I think that's a £51 million centre-back cross-defensive midfielder. That's Moyes took it to one side. He said, Pac-Man, go out there and play like Kante.
But yeah, I'm confident, and it's an important game for us. We need to get this. We need to win, and I say comfortably. I don't necessarily mean 4 or 5-0. I mean deserve the win. It could just be 2-0, but we have to play well from the first minute to the last minute. And I don't know. I just want to come out feeling good. A little bit of a perk me up ahead of the Newcastle game. Some big performances from key players as well. We didn't go missing there. And looking at the teams we've both got Souček having a rest, Fornals having a rest. It's nice to be in this position where we can rotate quite heavily and still have a very good team out there. We've both only got one youngster included in Ashby. And I know some people say, well, Downes is on the verge of like what's called a commentary as well. It doesn't really matter. They're part of the senior squad now. Yeah. So yeah, very good team. So can I get any final words in your score prediction, please?
Looking forward to the game, obviously. Well, say not obviously. There's a game coming after it. I'm not particularly looking forward to. But yes, I'm looking forward to this game. And I don't want to do the football snobbery either, Gio. I really don't. I tried to.
It's hard not to, though, when you don't know enough
It
about
is.
them.
I've got nothing but respect for a club like that, as hopefully that was evident at the start of the video. I really do, and I wish football was like that now. I wish we didn't see the same teams over and over in the Champions League every season. I wish everybody did start every competition with a fair crack of the whip. I think football is not as rich because teams like Partizan Belgrade, Steaua Bucharest, Ajax, Dynamo Kiev can't win the top tournaments anymore. The tournament football is poorer for it. And I would say the same domestically as well. You look at West Ham, we won the FA Cup when we were in what you'd now call the Championship. Those days are gone. So that's what it is. So basically, they're not a very good team anymore. And it's a shame that that's the case. And I would expect to beat them comfortably. Without really knowing their team, 3-0 maybe.
Yeah, it's 2 or 3-0 for me, and like I said, it's just a fun bit at the end of the preview, really. But a comfortable victory. Last season in Europa League, I felt almost every review I sort of described West Ham's performance as a professional performance, and like I said, I'm aware that can sound like a backhanded compliment, but it just means you've got the job done professionally and nothing to worry about. Very few scares. Wasn't necessarily adventurous, free-flowing football, but it was turn up, get the job done, and get out kind of thing. And I'm okay with that. This European football is about results. It's a competition. Cup competition is all about getting the win, and that's that. It almost doesn't really matter how you get there, kind of thing. Save your entertaining stuff with the Premier League when you've got 38 games. So yeah, I'll go for West Ham 3, FCSB 0 as well. So there you go. If you enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like on it. Let us know the team that you want to see start for West Ham on Thursday night in the comments below. And like I said, if you've got a little bit of time today, maybe just Google the history of our opponents and why they've changed their name. It's interesting. Let's put it like that. We'll catch you in a bit.